already we have reached round 2 of the college football playoffs, the quarterfinals. We have some bowl games that we've started. I really like the picks that I've put together for this week. Obviously, in round 1, if you go back and look at that video in the description, went 4 for 4, every spread covered. I figured it would just go that way. I didn't think Ohio State would win by as big of a margin as they did against Tennessee because of their struggle against Michigan, but at the end of the day, they were a far more talented team, and they ended up taking it to Tennessee. But going into these picks this week, if you look at it, the first game that we have, Penn State and Boise State. And I think a lot of people are betting Boise State. A lot of people are on the side of Boise State. They think that Genty is going to have a really big game. They think that Penn State is incapable of getting this win. And if you do look at it in the James Franklin era, he, against top 5 teams, is like 1-15 or something. It's terrible. But Boise State, they might be the 3 seed in this tournament. They are not a top 5 team. And if you look at it, this is going to be an easier game plan, I feel like, for Penn State, because really they only have to limit, in my opinion, Genty. And they have a really solid defense for Penn State. You saw it against SMU. Their offense didn't play great by any means necessary, but their defense stepped up and came to the occasion, and they had a really, really solid performance. And that's why they won by so many points. So I think Penn State is going to get this done. I think it'll be 23-17 is my final score prediction. And I think that it's a close game. It could be tied at halftime. I think it's lower scoring, but I think that Penn State's going to find a way to win this game. And just if their offense is able to give enough production, they should have no problem taking this victory. And that's why I think they're going to win 23-17. Moving on to the New Year's Day slate of games, it starts off with Arizona State versus Texas. Arizona State, very interesting team. Obviously, they have the bye. I think the college football playoff is currently looking to restructure how they give the seedings. Obviously, Arizona State doesn't deserve to be, in my opinion, the 4 seed, but they are the 4 seed, and they're playing Texas. Texas looked really good early in their performance against Clemson. It kind of turned into a bit of a shootout towards the end, but Texas really controlled that game the entire time. I think it was a big factor that they were at home, why they were able to dominate so well. But at the same time, this Texas team, they don't have that many quality wins. I think outside of their losses to Georgia, if you're to look at their best win, it would be against Vanderbilt or Michigan. You could maybe say Texas A&M would be one of their better wins. But I still think, just as from a sheer talent perspective, they have a much more talented roster than Arizona State. It's just really not on the same level. And I know Arizona State's had a good year, but you have to look at their competition. The Big 12 is weaker than we think, and there's not a lot of valuable teams in the Big 12 that were playing this year that had a really loaded rosters. Texas just has more guys. I think they have the better coach. That's why I think they're going to get this win. I think they're going to cover. They have a spread right now of 12.5. I think they're able to cover that. I think it's 35-10 in favor of Texas. I just believe at this point, with the strength of the roster, with all the depth that they have, they're going to blow this one out of the water. It could be close at halftime. I could see it being like 17-10 or 10-10 or 13-10, something like that at halftime. But I just think what you usually see in college football is with these teams that are clearly more talented, they might play around for the first half, but when guys start getting tired and you need to rotate in depth, that's when they usually break away. And I think Texas breaks away and they win this game 35-10. Moving on to the Rose Bowl, the one they call the granddaddy of them all. And you have the rematch between Ohio State and Oregon. And if you look at it last time in that game, in that matchup, it was only a 1-point difference, 32-31 in favor of Oregon. Now, if you look at it, Oregon played that game at their home stadium. They had some breaks in that game. They had an onside kick recovery. They had the play where there was 12 men on the field purposely by them, which was genius. But I do think that I really do believe that it is really difficult to beat a team twice in anything, especially football. And Ohio State has a lot of tape now on Oregon. They're able to retune it. They're coming off their best performance in years. So there's a lot of momentum. Ohio State, the fan base travels really well to the Rose Bowl. They're no strangers to going to the Rose Bowl. It's been a destination that the Big Ten champion has went to for years upon years. So it's nothing new for Ohio State fan base to travel to the Rose Bowl. So there will be a lot of Buckeyes there. There will be a lot of red. And I just think Ohio State gets it done. 34-30. I think that Oregon's the fastest team in the country, but I think Ohio State is the most talented team in the country. And I just think they're going to find a way to win this game. The momentum that they have, how good they played against Tennessee, if they target Jeremiah Smith 10 to 15 times in this game, I don't think they can lose. I really don't believe there's a DB in the country that can cover them. And if they're able to play to their strengths, if Ohio State is able to play to their strengths, I think they get this win. My score prediction on this, 34-30. Ohio State is currently favored in this game. Moving forward to the Sugar Bowl, the final game that we'll be talking about here, you have Georgia and you have Notre Dame. And Notre Dame was looking really good off that performance against Indiana, but Indiana was kind of a pretender the entire year. They really didn't play anybody. Their best win all year was against a Michigan team that's not that great. They were blown out by Ohio State, and they really were blown out by Notre Dame in that game. And, Indiana made it look closer at the end than the score really indicated. But if you look at Georgia, obviously Carson Beck doesn't look like he's going to go in this game. But I just think that they're going to find a way to win this game. They're far more talented. They're far more talented than Notre Dame from player-to-player basis. I think the coach, Kirby Smart, for Georgia is, at this point, a better head coach than Marcus Freeman. So I think that there's going to be areas of this game where maybe he's outcoached, and they just find a way to get it done. Georgia's been in this stage time and time and time again. Notre Dame has not won one of these bowl games in years, and that's been the history of Notre Dame. It's possible they could break it. I think this is a really good matchup. I think it's going to be a really, really close game through and through. But I do have to take Georgia in this 28-25. I just think that they've been in this spot more. I think they've been in this spot more as a program. Kirby Smart's been in this position before. I think Notre Dame kind of cakewalked into this game. They're not used to, they haven't played anything like Georgia this year. They really haven't. They haven't went up against a level of competition like that. And Georgia's been shaky this year, but they have not played next to near a competition level close to Georgia. That's why I just think they find a way to win this game. It's at the Sugar Bowl. There's going to be a lot of Georgia fans there. The fan base will be out there for Georgia. I have to give them the win 28-25. We'll see how these games go, though. It's going to be a really incredible New Year's Eve, and I think it's going to be really, really entertaining just through and through. And, I'll be back to do the Final Four.